Be as present as possible. Though this is pleasant, it probably won't last long. Still try to have fun, don't get me wrong. Just don't get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. Stay ready in your edit and stay steady as she goes, because if the tide turns or someone else's ship comes in, you're going to have to get up and do something. A little bit different, a little bit new. A little bit of me and a little bit of you. Diversify. It would be worse if I just gave you compliment after compliment and never any critique. Then you really would find yourself up shit creek without a paddle. So come on then, back in the saddle. Back to writing, back to work, back to trying to prove your worth. And remember, you can handle anything that comes in your direction. Because I'm your only competition. It's just me, our reflection. Thank you very much. Thank you. As some of you know, I've got lots of friends here. It's lovely to see you and it's lovely to catch up with you. About 2 months ago, I had a heart attack rather unexpectedly, and it nearly fucking fixed me off, to be honest with you. My beautiful girlfriend Molly saved the day. Can we have a round of applause for Molly for saving the day? Which, if I'm being honest, was quite helpful. And I wrote a poem before Christmas that turned out to be quite prophetic. One line in it, not pathetic, prophetic. And one line in it was, and the rot has now sunk deep enough to reach the core. And then I had a fucking heart attack. So, you know, don't write poems. Because and this is that poem. It's called Old Wood. And it's for stem number 1. It goes like this. I am taller now, late growth spurt. Legs like now old oaks and they both hurt. And to tell you the truth, they don't work anywhere nearly as well as they should. That's how it goes with old wood. They should have cut me down and turned me into logs, put me out in the shed with the dogs, and by now I should be with the sods of peat. Just another source of heat. There are more knots in the trunk, and the rot has now sunk deep enough to reach the core, and pieces of me drop to the floor. Children pick them up and then play with them, use my branches as swords and then slay with them. Insects crawl in their gaps and then stay in them, where it's warm enough for eggs to be laid in them. But if you ask me, I'm okay with that. That's how it should be, as a matter of fact. Circle of life shit, so time passes. I've done my bit, ashes to ashes. But it's not over until I'm burning. You can rest on my roots. I'm still here. I'm still learning, and there are new green shoots. Thank you very much. Thank you. Does anybody like the NHS? Yes. I bet you don't like it as much as I do. I fucking love it. They were brilliant. They saved me. And this next one is about us saving them, because if we don't, it is going to go. There's no question. So we need to fucking pull our fingers out. I don't know how I think a poem's going to change that, but it might. So this one's called, you'll see what it's called. And there's a little bit at the end for you to join in with. I've only just, memorised it today, so I might need some help towards the end. It goes like this. I had a heart attack at 34, but I think the thing that hurt me more than the pain across my chest was the state of the NHS. They've ripped the heart out of that carpet straight out the back. It's starved, but it's not like there's a lack of care. Money though? Nah, none there. How many Tory MPs have used the NHS, never mind the cabinet? I don't mean for photo opportunities, I'm not having it, because unless you sat in a trolley stacked 3 beds deep, it would be my advice that you best keep your hands off the purse strings and your opinions to yourself. This is an urgent matter of national health. We cut out cancers and we starve of fever. We want actions and answers and you gave us neither, like an abusive missus, but you just can't leave it because you're in too deep and you still can't see the wood for the trees. It's no good for the knees, all this cap in hand begging stuff, just to make sure you get enough. Bedpans to piss in, there's no piss left to take. Deliberate underfunding until there's no choice to make, and the people that can afford it get privately insured because there's nothing else for it and no room on the ward where your nan is and where I am. They've forgotten that we're here. Plugged into the drip that ran out last year, an IV line of BS from the PM. You should go there himself and see them. But it's not just the old, this is just the start. And exactly like the attack on my heart, they'll block the arteries and they'll stem the flow until people like us have nowhere to go. No doctors, no ambulances, no paramedics, no nurses, so we'll put it in stanzas and poems and lyrics and verses. Do we need it, is the question. And the answer is...
Yes!
There's no other option. Save the
H.
Thank you very much. It's a simple message in it, but it's true, and we need to do something about it. I don't know what that is, whether that's right. In the
Don't vote Tory.
Oh, there you go. That's what it is. Nice one, Dom. Okay, this next one, I'm on my soapbox a little bit, and it's funny as you say that because at Kendal Calling, has anyone heard of that festival, Kendal Calling?
Yeah.
So have you heard of Glastonbury? It's quite a small one down south. I was lucky enough to be booked to that. It was quite nice. But Kendal Calling, the stage was the soapbox stage, and he was with my good friend Rob Stevenson and a few of the fantastic poets. But a round of applause for Rob because he does a lot of including sorting out this poetry centre at Kendal Calling called the Soapbox. And my next poem is about people that do art in all its forms, whether it's painting, whether it's poetry, whether it's singing, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. And this poem was originally for everybody to keep doing that, keep following your passion, keep performing art, whatever that art is. And so I tried to do it as one of my first ones at Kendal Calling. And some of you know the story, some of you don't, but as I went to, as I was halfway through my first poem, a big marching band, 40 strong, started just outside the tent, the Soapbox tent. And when I say it was 40 strong, it really fucking was. All of them going mad on the snares. Couldn't fucking hear a word I was saying. So this next poem is dedicated to everybody in whatever art form you're in, apart from any fucker that's ever been part of a marching band. They can fuck off. It's called All Art. All art is now obsolete. It's either irrelevant or incomplete. Rub it out, forget it, delete. It doesn't serve a purpose, it doesn't pose a question, it doesn't do a service, and it doesn't teach a lesson. So why are we all still watching the soaps? Is it to remind us or to raise our hopes or to deny us any method to cope with everything that is just happening? Because everything is just happening, even though nothing is really happening. All art needs to stop. Put your paintbrushes down, get a bucket and a mop. It's time to wash off the graffiti and turn showcase into a school. But art won't be something to teach there, and art won't be something that's cool because all art is past its sell-by date. If you've not sold it yet, it's too late. Lowry's left his brushes by the factory gate and he's joined the gyro queue. Banksy and Stormzy are there too because their 15 minutes are also through and there's nothing else for them to do now that art's been cancelled. It's had its moment in the sun and it dangles off the edge of a big fuck off cliff, Richard. You're not getting any younger or richer, and there's no use in anybody drawing a picture of the folk of today with no mask. Socialism's on a homeschooling task, because if they did, then everyone will ask you. It's from before the year we've all come to hate. 2020. But by 2028, we'll have so much less on our plate, but no art. That's gone. Art's finished, art's done. No funding, no wonder they won. All art has vanished for good, exactly like they told us it would. The theatres are shelters, the actors are begging for pellets, because even when they hated, we felt as though we were doing something right. And if we had just one more opening night, we'd never stop acting, we'd be quite happy. Dying on our feet, dropping in with a dead long drum beat, because that would be better than this. No art, no critics, and no pints of piss. Because there's no gigs, is there either? No small, no big, no neither. All art is now obsolete. It's either irrelevant or incomplete. So, give me an opening night, give me an open mic, and even if it doesn't sound quite right, I'll still pretend that it's something I like. Even if I don't rate it, even if I hate it. Draw it, sing it, paint it. Because all art isn't obsolete, behave yourself. Art is yours to keep, but it's yours to save as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This next one's a public service announcement without guitars. Stop watching the news, it's bad for your health. You don't need the BBC to educate yourself. Sky Only Lie and CNN Chappie or Macca. Russia Today is about as much use as an empty maraca. Give it a shake and it won't make a sound about the FTSE 100 or the rate of the pound. When I first heard of the idea, I thought it was crazy that not watching the news is apathetic and lazy. Well, I gave it a go and then, whoops-a-daisy, I felt better. I no longer felt stressed. I no longer felt depressed. I no longer struggled to get myself dressed in the morning. Honestly, there's far more productive things to do, like watching paint dry or sticking your fingers together with glue, and both of those things will do so much more for you than watching the news. If it's something important like a war, then I'll tell you. If I need to warn you about a storm, then I'll tell you. Because you don't need to believe all the stuff that they sell you and finally succumb to the blues. Stop watching the news. Thank you very much.
Yeah!
Now, you need to bear with me for this one, because that last poem was called Stop Watching the News, and this is a lesson in doing as I say and not as I do, because the next poem starts with the line, I was watching the news today. So sorry about that, but you know, watch it, maybe ignore it a little bit. I was watching the news today, and it was all about a terrorist attack. When the girls came into the room and then I had to turn it back onto the cartoons they'd been watching just a half an hour before, and I don't think they saw anything, but I can't be absolutely sure that they didn't see the body bags and the bloody rags strewn out across the pavement, or the other story before about the DWP missing payments to a pensioner who'd worked all her life to end up skin, and I'm sorry. How can a clerical error possibly ever lead someone to jump into a quarry? Well, it did, I'm afraid, and that's a fact, and someone has to protest, because the party line is hardly found when it barely even confessed in the age of the computer, and when the internet runs a system that an old lady can't pay her bills and see her family again and kiss them and say goodbye for one last time and wish that things were better, and so they cry and wonder why they read aloud the letter that she wrote before she chose to take herself off to meet her maker, and in that note she calmly spoke about the bloke that came to take her television and her decision that she took with great deliberation. And the apology that followed the event was no commiseration, but in the grand scheme of things, is it all that significant? When hackers reveal massacres of the infirm, of the innocent that occur across the earth and on an almost daily basis, only confined to all mankind, to all religions and all races, so grab hold of the remote and I turn the cartoons off with urgency. And we sit together in silence and hear of murder and insurgencies, look at the faces of the racists as they climb up onto their podium. And even though the girls beg me to turn it back to Nickelodeon, I refuse because I choose to let them make up their own mind about how a court can ask a jury to say whether they find a molester, a protester, a robber or a saviour. Guilty or not, the sentence they got will be hard for good behaviour and they'll be out without a doubt before the girls have even left school. This is the world, this is it, girls, and I'll make sure that you're nobody's fool to think of the MP's policies and what they promised me are worth the paper they are written on. So the question, the suggestion after I've long been and gone, so that when someone or no one gets up to face a pantomime panel, they'll watch it before they turn it back to the Disney Channel, because to be ignorant is one thing, to be absent is quite another. And if we educate the young, there's half a chance we might recover from the incoherent lack of action that spread like HIV and AIDS, and the spirit and the passion will live on after the hate in me fades, because hate is a powerful emotion, yeah, but it's only half as strong as hope. And we can only set the wheels in motion if we give them enough rope to string a few sentences together and do more than we ever thought we could. And then they'll have learned their lessons, yeah, like every daughter should. Thank you very much. Thank you. This next one's for anybody that's ever had something nagging at them, whether it's depression, whether it's an injury, whether it's something that's getting you. And the way that I picture it is it's a dog barking. Now, just because you can't hear somebody else's dog barking, if they tell it's there, you need to listen to them, because they can hear it. It's called as a dog barking. And it's for anybody that's ever had anybody tell them, I can't fucking hear it. There's a dog barking at the end of our street, and she swears that she can't hear it. There's the East Lancs and the motorway, and even they don't come near it in terms of deafening me and threatening me and making me close the curtain. It's confusing at times, like I'm choosing to mind, but I know it, and I'm certain that there's a dog barking at the end of our street, and I can hear it in the night time. It always starts up and it never shuts up, and even though there's never a right time, it is an aggravating bark, and it is in agitating stark contrast to the noise and the fuss that I used to hear, the hum and the buzz that I used to hear when I could not hear that fucking dog barking. And I don't remember it starting. It was way before it moved over here. I've been hearing it now for 5 fucking years, and so the bastard must have followed me. And the noise has somehow hollowed me out of the person that I was into a living, breathing shell. And a passerby with the naked eye would never be able to tell that all I can hear is a barking dog, on repeat, on snooze, on silent. And all I can think of when I hear that dog is to defeat or to lose and to be violent. There's a dog barking at the end of our street, it hasn't got a lead on, it won't come out of the gate, it hasn't got out to feed on, so I go into the street to give it something to eat, and just like all it to come, the volume will drop. And the barking will stop, and I'll have to think of some other things to complain about, some other things to be in pain about, because I realised I have to drain without, the thing I go fucking insane without, I couldn't possibly be Culain without, is that fucking dog barking. It's louder than a bin lorry barking. It's more piercing than its claws that could stab me, and from the first minute it heard me, it had me, right where it wanted me to be. Pinned up in the corner for everyone to see. It's that lad who is a dog that no one else sees. You must be mad to hear a dog when there are no dogs near. But there's a dog barking at the end of our street. Swear down, I'm telling you, there is. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've got 2 more if you allow me. One's dedicated to my 2 little girls who are probably going to inherit a world that we won't recognise. Hope it can be quite alright for them, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be. It's called Just What on Earth, and then I'll cheer you up after this one, alright? Just what on earth will I tell my girls when they're 24 and 19 about the way we've left the world for them, about the things they might have seen when they're queuing up at the food bank or at the fountain for a drink? How will I explain it no matter what? We never took the time to think that eating meat and driving cars were things we could have done without. And even at breaking point, the point of realisation carried on and on in doubt of all the sceptics and their septic tanks towards a bursting point with nonsense. And how we trusted them, mistrusted, we misjudged it in more than one sense because it's double and it's triple. It's 4 times worse than we thought. And at my age, we can't blame ignorance because when we were at school, they taught us about the forests and the ozone and the greenhouse gas effect, about the oil and the dodo and the way nature selects the weak ones from the strong ones and washes them all out with a wave. Or is it the rich ones from the poor ones? It's the money that can save them from the disasters that their masters from overseas were underneath. And the same ones sent to take them were the ones sent to bring relief from the cholera and the chlorine that half the world still have to drink. While the other half are even less pretend that no one's on the brink of a precipice, or bottomless pit, or on the tip of a floating block of ice. The highs beneath the surface, you don't see it unless you look twice, but twice is 2 times too many. When my smartphone starts to ping, when my hashtag in with a cash bag in that we're all about to bring an end to homelessness and hostilities with a free meal and a warm embrace, when we should have been out to the teeth and engaged in a barefoot fucking race from Manchester down the M6, straight to London in our droves to drive out the cockroaches and to string up Michael Gold, but we didn't do it, sweethearts, because we had to go to work. And so the planet's on its arse and the weather's gone berserk, but the fracking has just started, so it might be warm soon. As the rich, the bitch and the bastards move to the moon to create new haven for the depraved and the emotionally bereft, to escape civilization whilst the rest of us are left back on this planet that we inhabit and use as our dumping ground. And then we'll wait with bated breath until we hear the thumping sound of the missiles and the virile chants of hatred and of war. And we'll lift our heads above the parapet like we should have done before to see your cousins by the dozens and your mums with looking big fall by the wayside, and then when they've died, we'll know it's too fucking late. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming, and big up to all the comedians and the poets. This last one's out of sort of symphony because it's quite an uplifting one. It's a happy one. It's from a poem. Sorry, it's from a song by a songwriter and folk musician called Willie Mason. He wrote a song called Oxygen. I think it was like 20 odd years ago now he put it out. But there was a line in it that really resonated with me. It was happiness is at stake. And I think if we could all think about that in everything that we do, every decision that we make, that happiness is at stake, would probably be all right. So it's called Happiness is at Stake. Happiness is at stake. What a statement to make. As if every single step we take has the possibility to break our stride, make us hide from the times we've been fake or the times we've lied when we just couldn't shake that feeling inside. But I've seen the homeless laugh when the rain clouds pop. I've seen sick children smiling though the pain won't stop. They'll never ring that bell and they'll never grow old, but they've still got stories to tell and tales they wish to be told about how even the murkiest of riverbeds can still yield gold. And I've seen joy in the faces of pensioners who know their days are numbered. I've seen the happiest of housewives who know that they are loved with belligerent old fools who never change his ways, he'll never cook his own food, and he'll never watch what he says. And these people find sunshine on the darkest of days. And that's a lesson to all of us. And if the blessings are calling us, then maybe my atheism is misplaced. Maybe my early Catholicism has all been disgraced. And maybe the pages in my Bible have all been defaced, but happiness cannot be erased. It persists and it lingers. It exists just to bring us a smile for a while, the most excellent feeling. It can slow down decline and it can speed up healing. I wish I could find a drug dealer who deals in dopamine, counterfeit colours and dope. I mean, imagine the type of life I'd have seen if being happy was as easy as that. If it could be caught or bought or brought right back. It doesn't work like that though, and once you find it, you can't lose it. Because you can't buy happiness, no. But you can bloody well choose it. Thank you very much.